Welcome back to Canada Wide, and here we have Trudeau and Chow. And I'm not sure if I should put their own audio on because I think a lot of people can't stand their voice. But the floods in Toronto, it's climate change. Didn't you know that? It's climate change. Pay more taxes, pay it up. And it's really getting obvious to more people because I've been obvious about this for a long time that it's all just a ruse, anyways, what they're talking about. Did you know the name Toronto means tall trees standing in the water? The whole entire Toronto, the native Canadians named it that because all the water comes down as it comes down from like like Simcoe down through the Water Canal and Humber River and all these channels. They all end up and filter through Toronto, end up in Lake Ontario. And it's really getting frustrating because these are facts and now they want to ignore it again. And they always ignore what you would normally understand, but then it would take away their narrative. Because let me tell you, climate change is a $1 billion industry of money moving around without any explanation of where it ends up. You are either called names, and Trudeau, he's great at doing gaslighting. I know I'm using a fossil fuels term, gaslighting. He's amazing at that. That he can just say something and then do the opposite, and he screws with your mind. Like it's like mentally, he's just screwing you. And I'm not sure I'm gonna go on a conspiracy say it's MK Ultra or whatever, but like it's just mind control of what they do. Let me flip back to the other piece. These two. And I really find it frustrating because you ever see those videos in Saudi Arabia of those Sikhs walking around in the Lamborghini dealership and they're talking about, oh, look at this Mercedes, look at this, oh, what thing. Like all, and even the air conditioned sidewalks, and I have videos of that too, air conditioned sidewalks in Dubai. All this is oil money. And even Iran too, and Russia, and even Freeland, she said at one point too that it's actually Russia wants to sell more oil. That it's actually beneficial to have weak leaders in Canada and make them stop selling natural gas and gas. And this thing goes for Venezuela as well. And they are some very poor country as well, way off than Canada, but it's a poor country with a lot of oil reserve. It's actually beneficial for for Saudi Arabia, Russia to send over, like even Greta Thunberg, she came before the election, the last election that we had in Alberta. That to me is political interference. That she went there, she tried to influence Alberta voters, and that's probably the worst ones to influence on fossil fuels. But that she came to Canada, she drove a little stupid Tesla. She came. Let me get this right. She came over on a sailboat on a yacht from France to New York, and then said that climate change, oh, the war, you destroyed my childhood, all that crap. And then she went on a Tesla and drove to Edmonton or Calgary, somewhere there after too. And I think that yacht is, I can't remember. I think the owner is an F1 Formula racer, very rich, very filthy rich. So she came over on that boat and she did her little speech. It is actually beneficial for foreign actors like Saudi Arabia, Iran, and China to shame Canada into stop selling their fossil fuels. And a weak leader, Trudeau's the perfect, he's like creme de la creme, perfect weak leader to suck it all up. And I'm going to try to put my hat on like Trudeau and try to see in his eyes. I think in his eyes, he wants to use Canada as a model for the world to say, look, we can charge carbon tax and charge the crap out of everyone. We can just pay money out of the wazoo for all this oil from other countries as long as we don't make it because we're better than you. As an example, that they take that model and take it to other countries. I think that's where he's coming from. And I mean, I don't need to say how that all falls apart. I think we all understand. But it is important to have a weak leader like Trudeau and Chow. I don't even understand when Chow got elected, and that was about a year ago. And I wanted Anthony Fury to win there too, but that there was political Chinese interference, Asian interference in political elections, in arena, at all levels. It came at all levels of government. And okay, so maybe that's Senate, but I think it's actually municipalities or provincial too. Why did we even have an election in Toronto if we didn't even know who was influenced? Because she is the perfect person to put in it, just to piss on everyone in Canada. And to me, Chow and Trudeau are just activists. They're not politicians. Well, they're not politicians like you think that would actually help the people. They're not there for that. They're just there as activists. And to me, it seems like it has all George Soros kind of money attached to it. But that's just a conspiracy theory. It's actually those two are the perfect ones to have. You take the country with the third most oil and fossil fuels in the world, and you shut them down. You get 10 years of money coming out like crazy because these two, and of all the shaming of Toronto because of a Dundas, of a guy 200 years ago. I don't even know his first name, Paul or John Dundas, whatever it was. And he didn't abolish fast enough. Like, this is just pulling at straws. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But it's the whole point of it is to shame Toronto, just like it is for Trudeau when he had the last election in Truth and Reconciliation, that he just wanted 6 months before he came out with all that news of how many deaths were in Canada, there were and children, and that girl with the sonar detector or whatever that could find all this stuff underground, that 1,000 people were kids were died and all this. Like, this was like the division that was created 6 months before the election. Perfect for Trudeau. You shame Canada, the flag is at half mast for 6 months before the election. He gets in, and we all have seen that picture of him walking at the beach. And this coward can't even turn around to look at the camera and say anything. And he flew over Kelowna. I was going to do a meme on that. He's flying over Kelowna on the first anniversary of a date that he created that only gives government workers another paid day off. Well, why not? And he goes to Kelowna. And, Sophie Trudeau, she was walking on the beach ahead of him, and she is just as much to blame as him. And I know she does those stupid Instagram videos of yoga and positive mental health and all this crap. She's the one that's sucking up millions of dollars and living the lifestyle of a billionaire. And she doesn't even have the empathy to say to her husband at that time and say, "You loser, what are you doing?" Because they could go on vacation at any time. She could not do that too. So I think a lot of it gets put onto her too. Anyway, I know this was a bit of a rant on this, but this Toronto thing with the climate change, it's like, what's horrible about this? And I was going to do another meme on this too. It's like when there's a tragedy, like in Toronto, $1 billion, I'm not sure how much it costs, $1 billion to fix it. Stephen Guilbeault has the biggest smile on his face, and Trudeau, because more people are suffering and they can push their taxes. Like, you ever think about that? Like, what about actually fixing the city? Because Toronto, for example, there's like 1.3 million people coming in a year. And I know a lot of people start saying, students and this and this. It doesn't matter. There's still 1.3 million people coming into Canada a year. I don't care how they come in. They all need to live. They all need to eat. 40% end up in Toronto, 40% Vancouver, and the rest get scattered over the country. We'll fix the infrastructure in Toronto. Fix the sewers, fix the roads, but don't do it like you drag it on for months. Like, you ever see in Japan when they have a road or a bridge they need to fix and they do it in 12 hours in the middle of the night? Like, I've seen those videos too. It's unbelievable. No disruption to service. But Toronto, oh, you got to have construction every year at the same place for a month. And it just goes on and on and on with the construction and the red tape on this. Anyway, I know this is a bit of a rant and I haven't been putting videos on a long time, but it just, whenever there's a tragedy and climate change, this guy flies into Toronto, makes his big speech, just to push another tax. That's all he does. Shaming, shaming, shaming. And he's still, I don't know how old is he, 52 or so, 53. I don't understand how much hatred this man has for Canada. And I love it when he says, "Oh, I love Canada, the bone and stuff." This is gaslighting 101. Your actions speak louder than your words, and this guy is just horrible. Trudeau, I'm talking about. Chow, she only got in there. Well, both got in there from my last name, even Doug Ford. But anyway, there you go. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked the video. Best of goodbyes. And I know this is a bit of a rant, like I've been saying, but I had to get it out with it. How they love this tragedy and fly around. It's just driving me nuts with these guys. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.